Hey, good morning, CFC and friends. It's Pastor John Stone with our Tuesday morning devotion. This weekend, we're doing a conference on gospel hope for anxiety and depression. And we've probably never had a day when people had they struggled more with anxiety and depression. And I'm sure there have been times, but especially among younger folks. And so I'm going to do a little devotion this morning and thinking about that and sort of set us up to think about what's going on this weekend. We hope you can come out to our sanctuary at Friday evening and then Saturday morning, 6 to 8:30 Friday evening, and then 9 to 11:30 Saturday morning. Jesus says this in John 16 and verse 33, "I have told you these things," meaning he's given us his word, "so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." So the first point I might make, and as we think about having this conference, the first point I would make is that anxiety and depression are real things. Historically, at least, I don't know that recently Christians have often dismissed anxiety or depression as a lack of willpower or a sign of immaturity, or just as it's not a real thing. But anxiety and depression, fear, and an inability to find joy, to see good things, they're real things. And I just might encourage you, for instance, to read anywhere in the Psalms, because throughout the Psalms, we see Christians who are writing the Psalms struggling with anxiety and depression. The psalmist says, "Lord, where are you? I can't find you. I search for you." Or the light has been cast from my eyes. We see, especially in the Psalms, people struggling with fear and anxiety and depression. And one of the things Christ teaches us is that our peace is only in him and not often in us, and certainly not in our circumstances. There's no promise that God will change our circumstances so that we have peace or we lack fear and lack anxiety. But he does say that if we look to what's going on around us, a world that feels on the brink of another massive war, or the loss of people we love who've passed away or left our lives, or the divorce that's crashed down in our life, whether as a child or as a husband or wife, if we look at these things, we won't have peace. And Jesus says, when you see these things, turn and look at me, because I've come to bring you peace. Your spouse may leave you. Death will track every one of us down and those we love. And wars will rage, famine, and bad economies. But I have come to give you peace. And anxiety and depression are real things. And let me just add by way of comment here that we also know that some of this is physiological. I can just tell you, for me, I can be in a better frame of mind. I feel better. I sleep better. I have more energy when I exercise than when I don't exercise. I know friends who really struggle with alcohol addiction or drug addiction often stay in a state of anxiety and depression because of that. And so there's a physiological part of anxiety and depression, and sometimes going to a medical professional can be better. I had a friend who struggled with depression, began to take medicine, and said this to me: "John, by taking that medicine, I understood the work of Christ on my behalf better. I was able to trust it more." So it's a real thing, and it's also connected to the fact that God made us in his image physically too. But also, the scriptures tell us to trust in God. Like 1 Peter 5:7 says this: "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." One of the things we learn in this world is the only person we can trust in is Christ. And for some of us, we won't fully know that until we are with him in heaven or until he returns. But the proper place for anxiety and for depression is actually to give it to Christ. Don't deny it. Don't ignore it. Admit it's there and cry out to God with it, and seek medical help. Seek counseling. See a pastor. Take a walk. Eat better. Stop drinking. Stop watching so much news. If you struggle with anxiety, turn the news off. No human being is supposed to know what we know about the entire world. Before 40 years ago, it took weeks to know things that happened, tsunamis and wars. But the Lord came to give us peace. He came to give us a place to set our anxiety and depression. And I would encourage you to give it to Him. I'd also encourage you to come out to our conference where we're going to talk about it in a fuller way. It's good to be with you. And look forward to seeing you this weekend or along the highways and byways of Tucson. Have a great week.